Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you are watching Boyd News. Want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got a breaking news report coming out from Russia to share with all of you, and we're also going to talk about Iran in this video as well. And the topic of the discussion is going to be about nuclear weapons. So, new reports here on your screen: Russia developing new satellite capable of carrying a nuclear weapon. U.S. intelligence says that Russia is likely working on the development of a new satellite capable of carrying nuclear weapons, according to an annual threat assessment. Okay, so this new report just breaking today, I think it's very interesting because not a lot of mainstream news was picking this up. But allegedly, this new U.S. intelligence assessment stating that Russia's trying to produce or develop a new satellite that could carry a nuclear weapon that could potentially be used to attack a foreign adversary. And also, at the same time, what we're hearing about Iran is that Iran is apparently no longer building a nuclear bomb. Okay. And I think that is very interesting because we've been hearing recently from Donald Trump and the Trump administration that they were potentially going to attack Iran if they did not stop trying to produce a nuclear weapon. So it makes me wonder if more talks are being held behind the scenes with the whole Ukraine and Russia war. We know that, the United States is really buddying up with Russia right now. Russia has ties with Iran. Makes you wonder if some sort of deal is getting worked out there, and maybe Iran is just no longer producing one, or maybe they are, and the U.S. is just not saying it. Who really knows what's going on here? But I want to share these two stories with you as they tie in to this U.S. intelligence assessment that was released recently, talking about these two stories. So we're going to jump into this. We'll hop on over here to the Telegraph Online. This actually comes out from India, and it says U.S. intelligence warns of Russian nuclear satellite threat, says Iran not building a bomb. And it says report highlights Moscow's space-based nuclear ambitions while dismissing fears of Tehran assembling a weapon. This coming out today, March 25th, 2025. And real quick before we get into this, I want to bring up a story that we talked about last year. I actually covered this, that Russia was preparing to deploy some sort of nuclear satellite, or a satellite that could potentially destroy other enemy satellites. So let's say they want to destroy U.S. satellites, they could potentially do so with that new satellite they were going to be deploying, reportedly. Now, we haven't heard anything since then. I think that came out last year as early as like February. Now we're hearing this, that they're potentially deploying a new satellite that could be carrying a nuclear weapon. So very interesting news here. Let's go ahead and talk about this. A new U.S. intelligence assessment has raised alarms over Russia's development of a satellite designed to carry a nuclear weapon, warning of devastating consequences for the United States and global security if such a capability were to be deployed, according to a report by Reuters. Russia, which possesses the world's largest confirmed stockpile of nuclear warheads, is estimated to have a total of 5,580 nuclear warheads as of 2024. Of these, approximately 1,710 are classified as strategically deployed, ready to be launched at a moment's notice. The revelation of Moscow's satellite project has intensified tensions between the U.S. and Russia, already strained over the war in Ukraine and broader geopolitical rivalries. Okay, so that's the talk about this nuclear satellite that Russia could potentially be working on and developing right now. That's really all the information we got, but as soon as we get more information on that, I'll definitely do another video for you guys. But just want to, bare minimum, let you know that reportedly, according to this U.S. intelligence assessment, this is what Russia's working on, okay? So now we'll briefly talk about Iran here and take a look at this. Iran not stirring the nuclear pot. The same intelligence report also concludes that Iran is not currently constructing a nuclear weapon despite persistent Western concerns over Tehran's nuclear ambitions. Iran's nuclear program, which includes research sites, uranium mines, and uranium enrichment plants, has long been a subject of global scrutiny. Tehran maintains that its nuclear activities are for peaceful purposes, a claim rooted in the origins of its program, which began in the 1950s under the U.S.-backed Atoms for Peace initiative. However, skepticism remains over Iran's intentions, particularly in light of past violations of nuclear agreements and its uranium enrichment beyond levels permitted under the now defunct 2015 nuclear deal. Despite these concerns, the latest U.S. assessment suggests that Iran is not actively working on building a nuclear bomb at present. Revelations about Russia's nuclear satellite project, however, present a fresh dimension to global security anxieties, potentially ushering in a new phase of nuclear deterrent strategies and space based military capabilities. Now, something that I reported to you guys recently, also, now that we're talking about this, just about maybe 2 to 3 days ago, I put out a report from the United States that Donald Trump announced several weeks back during his first address to Congress that the US was going to be working on something called the Golden Dome system. And it was going to be some sort of space based, uh, some sort of defense system to defend from any kind of like ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, or any kind of medium range ballistic missiles, any ballistic missiles in general, or any projectiles that come from any foreign nations, foreign adversaries like, let's say, Russia, China, North Korea, any enemies to the U.S. that might try to attack. They wanted to build this defense system or shield to protect the United States. So that's interesting. All of a sudden now this story's coming out. Now, would this Golden Dome be designed to protect from some sort of threat like that? I mean, maybe if it is space based, I think it would make sense that it would be used for that, right? But you guys can let me know what you think. I'm just kind of tying these stories together. But real quick, before I get you guys out of here, I want to show you one more thing here on X. This actually came out a few days ago on March 21st. This was from ViceGrad24, breaking. A 4.8 magnitude earthquake was just recorded near the Natanz nuclear facility where Iran enriches uranium with centrifuges. Okay, so I didn't report on this at the time because we've actually seen this happening multiple times in the past. Where we happen to see some sort of earthquakes taking place right next to where some of their nuclear facilities are at. And this was a 4.8, and some people were stating that maybe Iran was testing a nuclear weapon, and maybe they were, maybe they were not. Who really knows here? But just wanted to share this with you guys, as you know, at the same time, while we're hearing this report from U.S. intelligence that Iran allegedly is not developing a nuclear weapon, well, over here there's 4.8 earthquakes going off right around the sites of where these nuclear facilities are located inside of Iran. So is that Iran testing nuclear bombs underground? I mean, maybe they are, maybe they're not, but definitely an interesting story coming out from there that I just want to kind of tie into everything we're talking about here. And this is definitely a new threat that many countries like the US and even Europe or any other nations that are enemies to Russia, at least right now, at some point in the future, maybe Russia and US are not going to be enemies, are moving that direction to become best friends right now, is what it seems like. But at the end of the day, definitely a scary situation with a satellite that could potentially carry a nuclear weapon. This is going to be a new threat that a lot of militaries are going to have to counter and figure out ways to deter this kind of threat. So let me know what you guys think about this, though, down in the comment section. That's going to be it for today's update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.